Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. See, I know Hollywood. I was out there #1 and #2 syndicated show, not this judge show. Hell, I was beating Oprah every week for the last 4 or 5 years before I retired.
Mm.
Hell, I was over 65. Damn that. I had the money. I didn't feel like being bothered with that mess. And I might join the lady who was complaining about what happened with CBS and them depriving her of what she was entitled to
Speak about
Right.
Monique.
with
Yeah.
Monique. See,
Right.
CBS wanted me to take a big IOU. I said, wait a minute, CBS, you want me to take that for how many $1 million? You lost your bloody mind. The hell with you. See, and CBS, they're crooks, straight up and down crooks. They lie, they cheat, they steal. And by the way, Black Panther, why did ABC and Disney come up with Black Panther? They wanted to get a black exploitation movie, modern genre, which became the highest grossing superhero movie of all time. Why did they need it? You remember this series, So You Want to Be a Millionaire?
Do.
Hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay. ABC and Disney jacked the plaintiffs badly. So they sued them.
Mm.
Well, they kept winning, and ABC and Disney kept appealing until they got into the federal system and they got to the Ninth Circuit. They lost with the 3-member panel. They delayed it further and appealed, went to the full 9-member panel. It's an interesting decision. It says we must make some adjustments so this industry understands American contract law. First principle of contract law is that all parties must deal with each other in good faith. This
Hmm.
industry seems to have a distinct problem with understanding that. We will fix it. So instead of giving the plaintiff $7 or $8 million, they awarded them $580 million.
Mm.
Now, Hollywood very seldom has a lot of cash laying around. They got a lot of accounts. So by the time they did Black Panther in 2019, which was 8 years later, the judgment had ramped up to almost $1.5 billion with interest. So the plaintiffs effectively own most of the rides at Disney World, Disneyland, and Orlando and in Anaheim, California. And all ABC was about to lose their property, so the plaintiffs went in to collect, and ABC and Disney got said, you can't even pay the interest down. You better pay it in so many days. So they counted on us to show up for Black Panther, and we got Zoom went in and really supported ABC and Disney that doesn't give a flying damn about us. And we bailed out ABC and Walt Disney. And then they had Wakanda Part 2. We bailed them out again because they had another interest payment due that they couldn't have made without black folk going in. So what did they have? Black Panther. What was the battle scene at the end? The black women in the tribe were having a lethal combat with the black men in the tribe, and they were trying to kill each other off.
Yep.
And that's like the Dick and the Nookie fighting each other, trying to kill each other off, which is
Mm.
the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life. And we out there yelling in support.
Yeah.
Now I know some of these brothers ain't getting none these days, but I mean, there's some of us are. So why you want to go fantasize about killing it off? It's in rare enough supply now. Man, you
Right.
ain't had none, man. What's the matter, man? Listen to me. I'll tell you how you get it, man. Hey, how you do it. So why you want to go see the Nookie trying to kill off the Dick trying to kill off the Nookie? Man, ain't nobody getting nothing, man. What's wrong with you?
Mm.
It's crazy, crazy. Let's I
But we
want.
love it.
Yeah.
We love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And we like to jump in, and when somebody does something, we flock in like, hey, back off this mess. What you trying to do? This ain't achieving any damn thing. And I would say something too. I used to have a controlling interest, financial, in an entity known as Verbally Toxic. 25 years ago, it was a recording studio. And what we did was a lot of business because some of the name brand entertainments would go to some of the name brand studios. Back then, you needed a formal studio. It's not like it is now. And sometimes they'd F up badly. So they'd have all of these tracks that were ready to publish. And then, no, man, this went way wrong. So we could turn it around in 24 to 48 hours. So we got a lot of business, but there was some crazy putrid stuff going on up in there. And let me say this, for the nascent folk, distribution, residual rights, uh, who is keeping track of what for you? See, copyright infringement. Your intellectual property is protected in Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution. Most folk don't know that. So deal with it.
Yeah.
We got a lot of money. I'm sitting here getting some lawyers that I need to sick on CBS because they haven't been giving me residuals, which my contract told me I was entitled to for the stuff they showed 6 times a day, 35 or 40 places in Europe.
Mm.
So where's my money, dude?
Mm.
And well, the union is said, well, yeah, what about you guys? You don't like what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. With that being said, if you can speak a little bit on the Monique, her now suing CBS for the
CBS is
Parker
a
show.
putrid bunch of lying thieves. They look, half the mess I had with CBS, which is a Viacom property.
Wow.
Viacom assigned it to Paramount and then CBS, was that one of the first CEO involved, they admitted embezzled $25 million from my show. I was supposed to get a big chunk of. So they kept trying to get me to ignore it by, well, I'll tell you what, if you just let us ride, we'll ramp up your next contract. Okay. So I got down to where I had 45% of the unadjusted gross. And that's big money, especially when Viacom and Paramount were saying my show was their most lucrative when it came to profitability. So where is my money? And they want to come up with this. So I wasn't too anxious at the time since I wound up going through a divorce, but I might have to join in with Monique and say CBS is a bunch of sharks. They want to put knives in everybody's back, and I've never seen anything like it. I grew up in South Central LA. Well, it wasn't South Central then because that didn't come up until later as a name. Now the city council said, we're going to use that term because it is so offensive. Well, it was what it was, and you have some wasted kneecaps if you did what Hollywood does ordinarily. Now, they backstab each other, cut each other's throats, and grin while they're sitting around in a 5-star hotel bar on some leather couches, sipping Chablis and nibbling cheese and crackers. And oh, Tommy, those are delicious. Try one of the pink ones. Oh my God, they're so good. Yeah, okay. And one thing about that industry, well, I can abbreviate it. You've got all these adults who spent their entire lives in make believe and fantasy and not real. It's astonishing. The good folk in Hollywood don't hang around with Hollywood because it's kind of sick.
And then we have Freaknik. And I know we've seen a lot about Freaknik. A lot of people are up in arms about it, the documentary, a lot of people because they were there. But then there's been this interesting conversation between the hypocrisy of people up in arms and Freaknik and the Pride Parade. And I seen one person say that the only difference between Freaknik and the Pride Parade is Freaknik didn't allow their children to see it.
And the Freaknik started off really as an early Pride event. See, you have people talking about the 1980s and 90s, but they aren't talking about when this first started associated with Atlanta's underground in the 70s.
Please elaborate.
Yeah.
Well, what do you see when you have a pride parade? In the 1970s, they didn't have pride parades, but they had those events. Uh, Rick James was on my show. He was talking about, hey, don't don't get happy. That song "Freaks Come Out at Night" is just a song, you know. But we used to call, man, get your freak on, man. And that was from the 60s. And Freaknik, you know, that was in line with what started out back then. I think they had an analogous event called the Burning Man that was out in the California desert. It was in the 60s, 70s, went down and then came back up. So you see things go down and come back up. And what people are calling Freaknik right now wasn't worth what the first Freaknik was all about. That was what happened in Atlanta, which was a substitute. Well, would become a pride thing now. So it was what it was.
Right. Now you hear people also talking about trying to file lawsuits. Is that going to be possible if they, caught up in the footage?
If your ass was there getting your freak on in public,
Yeah.
damn, you did it in public. What the hell? Oh, I really messed up, man. I was out there high, man. And, like I was getting my freak on, man. 35 years later, man, or 20 years, 28, man, I don't want anybody to know. Well, hell, fool, you shouldn't have done it in the first damn place.
Right. Right.
Sure, they didn't realize we'll have social media and it'd be the way it is today.
Yeah, right. It's coming back to haunt them.
Right.
I want to ask you, real quick, kind of going back to CBS days and being taken off the air or leaving the air.
I didn't get taken off. They owed me $28 million. And I said, where's my damn money? And I said, I've been doing this for 15 years. I'm tired of all you damn fools trying to go around here and cut everybody's throat. I said, I'm out of here. I have better things to do. So I retired on top. And at the time I retired, it was in rankings order. It was Judge Judy, Joe Brown, Wheel of Fortune, Oprah Winfrey in that order for syndicated shows. Then you had the Today Show, Tonight Show, Ed Lenow, and it went down like that. So I went out on top. Some people locally were trying to cheat and misinform corporate headquarters in New York, and they didn't wind up being there. I think the last one got fired within 5-6 weeks after I left.
Did you
And
as
then
far as
we got the Negroes.